Silence.
Say hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody.
There you go. Oh. So imagine walking into a dealership in 1989 and ordering a car that is supercharged. While that is a standard these days, you can walk into any Ford dealership, grab a GT500 that is supercharged, or even a GT350R, take it to the track. You could not do that in 1989. This car, however, is one that you could order with a supercharger. It is a Bleakley Ford Impressor car. I know we've talked about it on the channel before because I actually own an Impressor car that I'm trying to put back together, but this one is unmodified, all original. And how many miles does it have? Check that out right there. What do you see? Yes, that is correct. That mileage is 100% accurate. It has not rolled over, but this car was actually the Dorothy Bleakley car. That's right. John Bleakley Sr.'s wife's car. I did reach out to Mr. John Bleakley Jr. and sent him a picture, and he said, "My mom's car." So he knew exactly what it was. But these cars are starting to become a little bit infamous. They had an option. There were stages, stage 1, stage 2. This one, as an internal thing at Bleakley, was a stage 3 car with a supercharger. That is not something that was publicized. Pardon me, but this is a stage 2 car with a supercharger on it. Options included, not all cars came with everything included in the Impressor package, but as a convertible, it did not have the 2-point brace, but a hatchback would have a 2-point brace, a B303 cam, 1.72 rockers, chrome valve covers, off-road exhaust potentially, even Dynomax mufflers. And this car actually adorns a B303 cam. The chrome valve covers a supercharger, 172 rockers, an off-road H-pipe, but it actually has factory mufflers on it. Very unique, and I guess you would call it a one-of-one because it's an automatic car. We're not sure exactly how many of these cars were produced. Assumed by those that are close to the Bleakley name in that area, 15 to 20 cars total in a likely 2 or 3 year period. And truth be told, the chief guy over all of this, I would call him the foreman, who actually oversaw these cars being converted into Impressors, was actually contacted by Saleen, flown out to Saleen because I personally chatted with him to teach them how to put a supercharger on a Saleen Mustang because they were doing it right. You can notice, you can actually watch a video on the channel. It's a Supercharged SC, one of the PAS collection. That car was probably a result of something like this. So they were doing it right over at Bleakley Ford. This is akin to a Yenko, a Nicky Chevrolet, a Tasca Ford. So this car is going to be probably a one of one, especially with Dorothy Bleakley's name on it. As a matter of fact, I know the owner well enough to know that the title actually still has, they have copies of it, of her name on it. So it's a very unique car, something that is not something you're going to see at a show, because this is something that gets driven very, very rarely, and it should, because, well, it's a one of one, and you know, honestly, if it gets hit, something happens to it, it has to be repaired itself. So I get that. Almost 4 is that way. The VIN number is specific to that car. But we're going to bring this car to you in this video because it is so unique, rare, and original. I mean, look at the seat material. It's not even ripped. Look at that. This is something that's very common with convertibles, especially because they fade, but this seat material is still dark and beautiful. They end up fading into a light gray, and the centers end up ripping. The car is all original, guys. Look at this. I mean, where else are you going to find a car like this but in a private collection, which is where we are, as you can see. This is an amazing piece of Saleen history and Bleakley Ford history. I will tell you right now that Bleakley Ford is going to become synonymous with the Tasca Fords, with the Nicky Chevrolets, the Yanko Chevrolets. Future auctions, these cars are going to be sought after because there's so few of them, and especially in the era that they were built, you could not go to any dealership in the country and just pick up a car like this. You had to go to a specific dealership, like Bleakley Ford. So the car is an all original paint car. It adorns all your typical 89 Saleen pieces, your 9-stripe kit. It has your 5-spoke wheels. Not necessarily a car as a Saleen that is a rare model, but with what Bleakley Ford did to it with the Supercharged and all the mods, it is easily, if not one of one, for sure in the options that it has. So this car definitely needs to be something. I'm going to try to do this. I'm trying to get in touch with the foreman, I just call it, the gentleman over all of this, and see how many cars were made. I'm actually in discussion with him. I do know there were very few, but definitely want to make sure these cars get the notoriety that they need because it's unique. People don't know about these cars yet. Other than the Supercharger, the Saleen suspension is all the stock Saleen suspension, wheels, brakes, that kind of thing. So they didn't do much of the suspension because the cars itself at that time were actually something that performed better than a stock Mustang. Let's be honest, an 89 Mustang LX 5-liter, albeit in its day was a fun car to drive, but handling was not a great thing. It's a little bit of a body roll in the turns. Saleen solved that with all of suspension mods. All it needed was a little more power. Obviously, we know that the 5-liter Mustang was definitely the platform that people chose to modify. And, well, Bleakley Ford did it for you under warranty. Something else to add to it that I forgot is they usually had a 65mm throttle body and a 67mm EGR. Something to help the intake flow a little better. But the car itself, and I mean, look at it. It's an amazing piece of Saleen history. It's not something you're going to see at a regular cruise-in show. It's something that you might see at a Saleen Nationals, which, by the way, you need to get to the Saleen Club of America website. Check that out because they're coming up in July. So, and as I've said before, that moves around the country. I think this year it's in Ocala, Florida. If you're in that area, check it out. It's going to be a lot of cool Saleens there. The SC is the mark, I believe. So check it out. And as always, whether you're driving them or restoring them, always enjoy them. Peace.